Overnight, it's been reported that 2 men were arrested on a transatlantic flight yesterday morning, suspected of planning a terrorist attack.
US officials asked Dutch police to detain the 2 men at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport after they became concerned about mock bombs in their luggage.
Yunus Muller has the details.
Law enforcement officers in the United States have dealt with what they're calling a dry run for a terrorist attack. The men allegedly involved are Ahmed Mohamed Nasser al-Sufi and Hazem al-Murissi. Now, Sufi was stopped at an airport in Alabama where reports suggest that his luggage contained a mobile phone strapped to a medicine bottle along with a number of other phones and luggage, and clearly that was enough to cause concern.
Well, anytime anybody's got a whole bunch of cell phones taped to bottles and triggering devices like digital watches, that sounds per se like something you'd want to know about.
But crucially, no explosives were found and he was allowed to board a flight to Chicago. But once in Chicago, he checked in his luggage to a flight to Yemen. He met up with Murissi and headed from Chicago to Amsterdam. However, once officials discovered that Sufi and his luggage were separated, they contacted Dutch police and both men were arrested. But there remains concern this morning that Sufi had been allowed onto a plane despite security concerns.
Nina Cordon could afford to go back to work after Matilda was born because her employer gave her childcare vouchers.
Without them, I think we'd be a bit stuck. Matilda goes to nursery 4 days a week. We don't have the luxury of grandparents living near us to help sort of save on those nursery fees.
Effectively, they are a tax break for working parents and are accepted by registered childcarers from au pairs to nannies. 340,000 parents use them to save up to £2,400 a year. By scrapping the childcare voucher scheme, the government would divert the money saved into funding nursery places and free childcare for 250,000 two-year-olds.
What's wrong with the decision is the way they've decided to fund it. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. The money is going to come from another group of parents with children in order to fund that change.
Critics warn it's not higher-rate taxpayers, but families with young children who would be the biggest losers. When it comes to driving, our personalities change and we behave in ways we wouldn't otherwise imagine.
The minute some of us get behind the wheel, we become what the study calls Jekyll and Hyde characters. 40% of us have a radical personality change. 61% become more aggressive, and almost a third admit to driving faster just to impress others.
Men are the worst and twice as likely to drive dangerously.
I can occasionally be a bit aggressive, I suppose. No different to anyone else.
How would you describe yourself as a driver?
Quite good. Better than my husband.
Well, I can get a bit ratty if they, want to pass me or so.
Some are all right, some are mad.
And here's something else to think about. Motorists are different types. The steady Eddie, the racing driver, the worrier, the snail. But most of us, the vast majority, are down as the conformists. In other words, we tend to blame ourselves for other people's mistakes. The question is, who are you?
I'm the guilty one. That's the problem. I'm being made to feel that way in here right now.